Hey, time interview with Derrick Hayes. Prime time, biggest names in the game. Prime time, the names of the fame. Yes, y'all. Another edition of Prime Time. Some of y'all out there reading and you thinking it's prime time, but see, the M is silent and the M is small because in life, sometimes the smaller things will quietly lead you to the bigger opportunities. Follow me on all social media platforms at Entertainment and even on Cash App. Tonight, we have a special edition. Her name is Sabrina Lowery. She's coming to us tonight from Metro Atlanta. Not only is she a wife, she's also a mother. Not just a mother, but an author. Hey, I'm in the house, she's in the house. That's why she's a realtor. Ladies and gentlemen, she's a technology expert. And see, if you go to Best Buy, they're going to say, where are the geeks at? But there's a main reason why this young lady, Sabrina Lowery, is a geek. Let me break it down to you. She gives entrepreneurs extra knowledge. I'm going to say it again. She's a geek because she gives entrepreneurs extra knowledge. Follow her on her website, www.sabrinalowery.com. And you can follow her on all social media platforms at Sabrina Lowery. How you doing tonight?
Good evening, Derrick. I'm so excited to be on Prime Time Live. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. For those of you that just tuning in, this lady's name is Sabrina Lowery. I don't want you to forget her name. I want you to remember her name and her game. Coming to you from Metro Atlanta. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's an author. She's a realtor, a technology expert. And I said she's a geek because she gives entrepreneurs extra knowledge. She goes above and beyond. And that's why tonight we're here to talk to her through the word legacy. Because legacy is part of her company, and legacy is what each and every one of us ought to be trying to build so we can leave an inheritance for our children's children. Let's get into this, Miss Sabrina. The L is for leadership. You know, I've been following what you're doing and how you're making things happen. How'd you become a leader in the world of technology?
Well, Derrick, my journey began a long time ago. I have always been into gadgets. I have always been a fan of technology. And in my family, I am the first to always introduce new technologies. So when you're a geek and your family looks upon you as the smart one, you by default are the go-to. So you lead from that. You know, if your family puts you in the position and you know your stuff, that has to position you as a leader, doesn't it?
Yes. Hey, you know what's even crazy? You just created a, just listening to you, because, you know, life speaks to me through people and words. And you just created, like, it could be a service or it could just be an idea called Go-To Geeks.
Oh,
you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I just, you know, sometimes ideas are just being spoken to the universe.
Let me write that down. I'm writing that down. I like that, Derrick. Thank you.
Go-To Geeks. You just never know how it's going to happen. You know?
Exactly.
And the E is for education. Tell us about some of your books and how they can help others, because just, you know, sometimes you don't, a lot of times people think you go to school just to get the education, but somebody can bring the school and the education to you.
That is absolutely true. And I am a life learner. I believe in constantly learning and improving myself. And I also believe in innovation. So with education comes innovation. And with my background, I am a graduate from the University of Florida. Go Gators, to all my Gator alumni watching this evening. And then I made my way here to Atlanta when I started my entrepreneurial journey. And that journey began at one of the first major brokerages that I held my license with. And in forms of being educated in an entirely different industry than technology in order to start a business that was not up to speed on tech, there was some edumacating to be done over here with your girl. And once that happened and I shifted from technology into real estate, education was required. I was required to attend training. I was required to level up my skills and get certifications, designations in real estate, which I hold 4 of them. And in this COVID-19 pandemic, I have completed successfully my Women Entrepreneurship certification with Cornell University.
Oh, that's big time. That's big time. Do you have any of your books with you?
I do. So thank you for asking. So the one that I want to talk about today, and of course, it may be this. Is it showing okay? Can you see it okay?
It's showing you a little. It's showing a little bit.
Okay, so what I would like to introduce everyone to is social etiquette. Okay, so social etiquette, if I can get that framed right in the camera, that is my book available on Amazon. And the subtitle is Communicating with a Conscious Mindset. And when you are using technology and when you are using your communication skills, you have to be conscious about what it is you're saying and doing at the same time. And because of you, Derrick, because of our connection, when I was told 5 years ago that my youngest son was autistic, it sent me into a very dark place, not just as a mother, but also as an educator, because I felt like I was uneducated. I had never experienced anyone in my family with autism. None of my other 2 sons struggled with that. And when I look at my child, you don't physically see a disability, but we knew that intellectually there was an invisible disability, Derrick. And in that journey of 5 years, we had to do speech therapy as part of his treatment. And when I would take him to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and watch him behind that mirrored glass wall in an opposite room from him and his speech therapist, I learned something called social stories. Social stories were a way that his speech therapist would teach him how to engage, because his disability is always going to be in communication, in language, in processing, in comprehension. So when you have to be conscious about giving information, in asking questions, you have to be conscious. You can't just, oh, why you being hard-headed? You can't discipline that child the same way, because that is the child that truly does need to be told something 2 and 3 times. You start with 2 and 3 times. He's not a defiant child. He has a condition that is invisible to the other person that they wouldn't consciously be thinking, oh, that's right, Caleb has an intellectual processing communication disorder. I have to talk to him and communicate with him like this. How awkward would that be? So just imagine the normal kids running around the playground, and I do put the air quotes around normal because you know these babies is questionable these days, right? But when you see my baby interact in the public and you see him just going about his merry way, you've met Caleb. you would never, ever know that he was dealing with that disability, my love. So watching his speech therapy journey for 2 years, I was behind the wall writing this book. And inside the book, I talk about social stories. Look at that. I even put the one about playground and recess time. Okay. What did it look like back in the 70s when I was growing up on the playground? How did we interact as girls when I wanted to go play double dutch with the girls over there because they had the jump rope and I didn't? How awkward was it that they were not aware of who I was and we weren't cousins or friends, but I had to engage with them in some kind of way, right? So the social stories helps my baby socially interact. And then it also allows other people to recognize when someone is different without penalizing them, without ostracizing them. Because that was my fear, is that my baby would be ostracized, picked on, and bullied. I just get choked up thinking about it, because who wants that for their child? So I am very passionate as a communicator. I am a professional speaker. I enunciate my words when I speak. I know 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. And I've learned to recognize the differences in communication, especially when English is not someone's first language, Derrick. So at the end of my book, I actually have some etiquette commandments, my friend. Okay? I've got the etiquette commandments for the kids and for the adults, because they need some commandments too. And my first commandment says, thou shalt not text and drive. And this is a state law in Georgia. And do you know why I started with that, Derrick? Because in 2018, my entire family, my husband and my baby boy, were in a terrible car accident as a result of someone texting and driving and not paying attention, running a red light, and almost totaling my vehicle, with my husband in the front and my baby boy in the back to witness the whole thing. Just imagine that, right? So that is commandment number 1. For months, I couldn't even drive in my car just without anxiety and fear, right? And then imagine having baby boy riding alongside me everywhere we go. Mommy, if they're on their phone. Mommy, they're texting and driving. Mommy, they're not staying in their lane. And so that was an entire life lesson, so much so that it is a social etiquette commandments, right? Then at the very end of the book, I share one of my very favorite platforms is Google. So then I absolutely talk about the tech. I talk about the tools that people can use in order to help them when they have invisible disabilities, Derrick. And I'll give you an example of one of them. My son struggles with the reading and the writing. So if he has a language issue, don't you think having speak to text is a phenomenal thing for my child? He can talk all day long. So if he is now 10 years old, wanting to text his friends and his buddies, my son is not intimidated. He can speak his conversation and it will transcribe to text, and my baby is text messaging. Okay. So that is just one example. And we use the tools like Google Duo. We've been using Google Duo for years. We use that to communicate as a family. He calls his Mima, he calls his brothers, his grandmothers, and just whenever he wants to have a phone call on a video chat, he can use Google Duo to do it. And then if he wants to text message with them, we can use other tools like Immersive Reader by Microsoft that people don't even know. You can have an entire book transcribed and read aloud to you. So tools like that in my family are essential. They're necessary. And so I have to bridge the gap and advocate for my child by providing him with resources and tools that will always make him successful.
Hey, that's a blessing. The G is forgiving. And I just wanted to, I had a question for you, but instead I wanted to share this great moment with you because a few weeks ago, my spirit told me, hey, you got to say hello to Sabrina. So I said hello to you in a message, and you automatically came back and you said, hey, I got something for you. And the beautiful thing about paying it forward and giving back is that things line up, things align between each other. And I'm going to tell you what happened. This is a true story. I can't even make this up. I work with different kids, you know, and I'm connected to different teams. So the ties that you gave to me, I was able to give to basketball teams in Maryland, basketball team locally here in Columbus, a Boys and Girls Club in Montgomery, Alabama. And one of the football teams that I gave ties to, a lot of the players wore their ties on the same day that I'm interviewing you on. So I just wanted to share that, how sometimes you give and you don't know what happens to your gift.
That's awesome.
Like they say in Proverbs 18 and 16, it said a gift, it makes room for you and brings you before great people. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
And the A is for autism. You touched on that already. And so if anyone's out there listening, one of the things I do is I work with young people who are at risk, you know, and have behavioral problems and autism. Mm-hmm. And also I work with a magazine called Autism Parenting Magazine. So I just wanted to put that out there and share it because every month I have a column. A lot of people don't know. They see me do different things, but they don't know that I actually work in the autism community. And I also have a platform where each month I interview parents that have a child on the spectrum.
Yep.
I'm going to go to the next question. The next question is C for connect. One of the things I noticed during COVID and things happening with the coronavirus was a lot of people were shutting down. But I saw you take your game to another level. Can you speak on some of the things you were doing? Because I saw it from my own eyes how you were connecting with different speakers and you're interviewing different people. Can you talk about even what you called it, because you had a certain name for it? Speak on that, because people need to do things when there's not as many barriers out there, but they need to do it when there are barriers, because the more you push when there's obstacles in front of you, the easier it's going to be when you get to the other side.
That is absolutely true, Derrick. And I do believe in relationships, and I believe in the power of connections. I just think about how many years ago we connected, how we've stayed connected, just followed each other's journey over the years to then have a mutual connection that brought us back together in person for their wedding shower, right? Remember Yolanda and Derrick? And so right. That's a connection. So how do you take an online connection offline? I believe in that very strongly. I even met my husband online 18 years ago, y'all. Okay. So we've been rocking together for 20 years, but 18 of those I have been Ms. Lowery. Okay. So that's the power of connection. And if you don't believe in turning an online connection into an offline relationship, then you are missing the entire bus. Like it just left you all the way over there. Because in a COVID-19 pandemic, when people were social distance, it wasn't about being social distance. It was about being physically distanced and apart at a safe distance, right? It didn't say, oh, we can't socially connect. That's what social networks are for. And so I use social networks like Facebook. I use social networks like Instagram. I use social networks like Twitter, where I have thousands of fans, connections, Derrick, not just followers, connections. What is the power of connection mean? The power of connection is exactly what you said. You didn't even realize that I was still dealing with the loss of my father when you reached out to me, and I was trying to get to you to bless you. That's what connections do. Connections support one another. Even if you can't attend something of mine, I've seen you post my book just to be like, hey, y'all, Sabrina Lowery dropped another book over here. She's speaking over there. You don't want to miss that. So what's wrong with people connecting? It's because they weren't taught how to do it properly. So, in business, I teach a webinar called Relationship Marketing 101, where you actually learn how to develop deeper connections, especially if they start online. And you take that connection right on offline. You send them cards and flowers. You customize those cards. Like, this is just one as a sample, right? So I'll customize the card, put a little love note on the inside, customized by me. I like to write. I might even then snatch a picture of Derrick and drop the picture and then mail that bad boy out. What did that cost me? All of 55-cent postage with the USPS service and a few days, maybe a week. And a week later, I get a call from Derrick like, you are so thoughtful, Sabrina. I just out of the blue, and I can go on and on with the ways that I use relationship marketing. And guess what? That relationship eventually turns into real cash opportunities. So I'm creating cash opportunities by connecting with others.
Right. And cash, I got one for you. For cash means connect and share habits and share hope and share harvest. And I'm gonna write this word down. Write this word.
All right, I'm ready.
Business.
All right.
This was spoke through you just a second ago, right? All right, now in the word business, do you see you?
I do.
Do you see sin?
I do.
All right, now that you see you sin, cross out USIN. Now, what does it leave you with?
A little bit. USIN leaves a BESS.
Right. So the message is, if you don't connect with others and give your best, it's like you sin. And then it's saying you sin if you don't give your best. I just want to share that with you because, I want to give you flowers now because I don't want to tell you later that this idea came. I want to tell you while we talking.
That's right. I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And the last letter in the word legacy is Y. At the end of the day, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to truly be remembered as the geek who made a difference. And the reason I take pride in owning my geekness is because, when you would get punished for being too smart for your own good, you too smart for your own good. You hear stuff like that. That is why I just want to be remembered for taking advantage of education opportunities, for advancing my skill set in a COVID-19 pandemic to achieve one of the highest accolades. Derrick, things came full circle for me in COVID. When I say it came full circle for me, I applied to Cornell University for my undergrad, and my mother did not want me to go back to New York. So block that blessing. But look what happens. I now have an entire certificate framed on my wall from Cornell University in women entrepreneurship. I am blessed beyond measure. I am thankful for everything that God gives me. And not only that, but I am a giver. And I believe in giving to others, because there is no greater feeling than to bless someone and receive 100-fold what you put out into the universe.
Hey, I appreciate that. I have a question from the audience. Someone sent in a question, and they want to know, is there an app with Microsoft that would transcribe books?
That is Microsoft Immersive Reader. It sure is. I use it all the time with my son.
Can you repeat
Microsoft Immersive Reader. Immersive, IMMERSIV. I actually have a post on my Facebook page about the tool.
Can you, when we're done, can you come back to the interview in the comments and post that in there? Because that was a question that someone sent in.
I sure will.
To make sure we got that out there.
I sure will. And here's the blessing before you move on to answer their question. You know how all the students are remote learning right now? For any parents that did not know, Microsoft Office 365 is free for educators and students, Derrick. Okay, so if I were to buy a brand new Surface computer, you know, you've got to buy a license to use Office 365. But do you know, as parents, for our students, we get Office 365 for free? Those are technology tools that our whole family uses, not just the child. So Microsoft Immersive Reader would attach to a Word document and then transcribe the pages of the book with the technology into an audio format and talk that book out to my baby.
She not talking TT as an auntie. She talking TT as a technology tool.
That's right. That's right.
Is there anything that we missed out on or that you like to add before we go?
No, I would just ask that anyone that has enjoyed this interview, share the message. Share the message of embracing technology. I take the stress out of tech, Derrick. That is my superpower. And I love technology. I am an innovator, a creator, and an educator. And anyone that needs 30 minutes of time with me, I'm welcoming you to book a 30-minute consultation on my website, SabrinaLowery.com. Thank you, Derrick.
And her website, once again, is SabrinaLowery.com. You can follow her at Sabrina Lowery. Like I said, she is a geek because she gives entrepreneurs extra knowledge. She goes above and beyond. And remember, this young lady is in the metro Atlanta area. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's an author. She's a realtor, a technology expert. And most of all, she's an educator. Yes. Keep checking us out on Prime Time, where the M is silent and the M is small, because in life, the smaller opportunities will quietly lead you to the bigger opportunities. And follow me on all social media platforms at Untitled, and even on Cash App. My guy Zay Sanford at Zay Sanford Music, he brought us in, and he's going to take us out. So until next time, I'm very thankful for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You be amazed. Derrick Hayes. I think you stay again. I in the name of the bed.